Okay, it's going to be a quick thing on logging. So, kind of set up the normal flow that most people use for logging with the built-in Python logger. And for most part and for most workflows, it's fine, right? Like everybody has their flow. They've added it to their snippets manager or snippets tool. They just kind of copy and paste it in and it works. But I just kind of want to show you a little cleaner pattern here, and you get a couple extra features with this other tool that we're going to use. So I just kind of want to walk through it. First thing is, here's all of your normal things, your mylogging.py, right? There's my format, the way I'm going to format it. The date, I'm going to make sure my directory exists. And then I grab a logger and I set its level and I get rid of the other handlers so I can add a handler. I'm going to do a stream handler first, and I'm going to do a formatter, and then I'm going to add the handler, and then I'm going to set the formatter again and add the handler. And this other handler is a rotating file handler, and this first one is a stream handler, which is system.stderr, kind of like std out, but just on error. So system stderr. And this is the normal setup. So you come over here to main, and I'll even show you the results here. You come to main, you have to do get logger, get an instance of the logger, and then you can log things. So if you notice down here, I have it logged. It's kind of an easy pattern to follow, and then you just use logger, all import logging, use logger all over the place. That's kind of the normal pattern. Well, the other pattern for logging, if you want to log everywhere, is Loguru, and I'm going to kind of walk you through that. Before I do, and of course you can skip ahead, I just want to talk about logging in general for a second, because a lot of times we'll put print statements everywhere. Sometimes we'll overlog. Sometimes we'll underlog. Right, logging is kind of an art. I used to joke with somebody I work with that told them even their logs have logs because they logged every little thing. And for forensics, when it came time to dig in the code, that was great. But also bloated files and folder systems and added data that we just weren't combing through and nobody was really looking at. Right, so logging really needs to be about important things to help yourself out later. The other thing that I want to say about logging is if you do a try catch, or try except in this case, and I don't do a lot of them. I do them in very specific places because I want my pipelines to fail loud. I don't want them just to fail and log and then 3 months later I find out what happened. So I will use a try statement and then I'll catch it. And in that catch, I'll log and then I will raise the error again. I'll throw again, just to make sure that it's bubbling up, just to make sure that it's loud and that I see the problem. So when logging, if you do use try except to log, go ahead and raise an error again in the except to make sure somebody's being notified like, hey, this is a problem and there's a problem in your data pipeline. All right, so that being said, let's switch over to Loguru. So the first thing I need to do is I need to do a UV add Loguru. Let's do that. Okay, so I have added it. Now my logging is what I'm currently using here, and I am going to not use this. Okay, I am going to use this guy. And you'll notice right out the gate, this is a lot lighter here. I'm doing the exact same things. Everything I did in the other one is like 3 lines. This is my standard error. This is my rotating file. So I have a file here, formats this log format. I'm using that everywhere and doing a rotate and retention and encoding. And I'm doing all this in 3 lines of code. Over here, now I do the from Loguru import logger. I no longer need this because I have the logger directly And in theory, unless it makes a liar out of me, it should just work. And it does. And now also notice the difference here. You see my terminal up here, right? All white, all together. This has color out the gate. It's not something I added in there. It's not something I configured. Color logging just kind of happens to work. And if I throw an error, if I say logger.error, an error occurred, and I throw that up, right, you'll see it's red. So when I'm looking through my terminal, I immediately can determine that there's something wrong. Or if I'm looking through logs, I can determine there's something wrong. All right, so I have a little logs file here, and there's an app log in there, and you'll see that I have a nice, colorful app log as well. So that's nice to have, right? When you're going through these kind of things, to have something that's visually striking that makes things stand out. So that's a really quick overview of logging in Python. Logging becomes an art, but I would say get rid of your print statements everywhere. Use a logger. If you like the basic logger, use a basic logger. I'm moving more toward Loguru just because it's a simple setup, and then I can just import that logger everywhere, and I don't have to worry about getting an instance of a logger and passing things around and doing all the things that I used to do. And I get nice colorful logs. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you have some kind of structured logging system, whatever your team decides on. I'm not going to say there's no right or wrong answer here, but it's team dependent, and you'll find the pattern that you like the most, right? The balance between I have 40 million logs nobody reads, and I have 3 logs and prods down. What do I do? I need to instrument my code. So somewhere in there, as your experience goes or whatever your team does, that's a good thing. The other thing I want to say is there are a lot of good logging aggregators out there. Datadog is a very good tool. I use it at the enterprise level. It's a very expensive tool, but when you have a problem, it will help you get to the bottom of it. I have some pre-Datadog alternatives that I work with that are a little less expensive and do some of the same things that you don't need Datadog yet, right? Datadog's an eventually, especially if you're growing to the enterprise and you're doing a lot of work, Datadog may be on your roadmap, but for some of you, it's not today. And there are other ways to get around that and other ways to log that you still have good access to, and it makes sense. So that's my quick, brief 9-minute talk-ish on logging. Thanks, guys. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.